Hello, and welcome back to Aspiring Creator, where we talk about all the behind the scenes stuff of running YouTube channel, content creation business, all the stuff. So I have a list of things that have happened since the last time I created the last show, and we're going to crack on with the first thing. And the first thing is is very close to the heart because we were just chatting about it now. And so this is like when uh, a brand changes stuff on you. Now this is like very much in motion at the moment, so we don't have a necessary answer for this. However, it's just, this kind of stuff happens. And so it's worth just chatting about it and seeing how other people would deal with it as well. So we have a brand deal with a brand for a dedicated video. The brief was sent over and we've, read the brief. We've scripted the video. We have shot the video and it's currently being edited. And the brand today then sent an updated brief. And the brief has gone from being, I think it was like either a 4 or 8 page brief originally. It's now being like 40 plus pages and loads of stuff like must-haves that we didn't have in the original brief. And so it's just like, it's super frustrating. Obviously, we've got like a schedule to keep. We're trying to juggle so many things and figure out how to do, what with the hours in the day that we have. And so for a brand to change things, very, very luckily, and my agency was very, very good to do this. I suspect they know it's happened before, in that the agency said we should screenshot the original press kit thing that they sent over, because where it's like a Google Doc, and obviously they can then go and update the Google Doc and make changes to it. So he suggested we get screenshots of it and store it somewhere so that if they do change it, then we can come back to it and say, well, this is what it originally said and this is what you've changed it to. But yeah, going from like a few pages to like 40 plus pages is just nuts. And especially when some of the stuff in there doesn't really apply. The original brief we had a few specific things for us, like we'd like you to have this in the title and the thumbnail and like keywords and all that kind of stuff. But ultimately, it's the creator's decision for the packaging of the video. Whereas that's completely disappeared in this packaging, in this like second revision of it, 44-page revision of it or whatever it is. And so we are pushing back. The other issue we've had is that we were asked to submit them the concept for the video, which we did like 2 or 3 days ago, and we've not heard anything back from them. So we've just gone ahead with scripting and shooting because, again, we've got schedules to kind of crack on with. And so we don't know yet whether they're even going to agree with the concepts. We'll find out, I guess. But just thought I'd mention it. Very, very frustrating when you're trying to, you're trying to have all your ducks lined up in a row, aren't you? You're trying to have you make sure you've got your video ideas created, make sure you've got them sponsored. And so you're not messing people around by constantly changing stuff. And so it does feel a lot of the time like we're on this treadmill, and as soon as something doesn't happen in the right order or the right time frame, that can upset the apple cart, so to speak. And right now it's we submitted a concept, we haven't heard anything back within a couple of days. So we've just gone ahead and shot, and videos are kind of almost edited already at the moment. So we're just going to send them what we've got, I think. I'm waiting to hear back from the brand and the agency right now to find out what they want us to do with all this new information that we didn't agree on and we didn't have to begin with. So we'll find out. But just kind of venting, I guess, because this stuff does happen. I'm very similar to the one I mentioned last week, where we had a good brand signed on for a good video, for a good product, and then just we wanted to do it because it was a great brand, and it just got delayed and delayed and delayed, and then the product wasn't what we thought it was. Realistically, we should have probably just turned around and said, no, let's just cancel the video because the product's not good enough. We turned the video into more of a showcase rather than a review because we didn't feel like we could review it, or at least not to the stage where the brand would like it. But what I'm thinking now, on the completely off tangent now, is that one of the ideas I've had and thought about is having this like second channel, this second uncut channel. And this second uncut channel could totally be a channel where we just almost do zero editing. And it's just, if we're shooting the video, like if the product turns up and we can I talk about, I have, no, I'm not going to talk about it. I've got the Fitbit Air and I'm not sure if I'm allowed to talk about it or show it yet. I'm not sure when the embargo drops for that. I know people are posting about it to say they've got it, and that's basically it. So that's all I will say. But like the Fitbit Air, like when we're unboxing it and setting up, we literally just have a camera rolling and a microphone clip so we can go through the setup and talk about some just like completely off the cuff just going to set it up, what does it look like? How does it feel? What kind of data does it collect? Cool. And then if we then want to do a proper video on it, we can then cut that up and make it into, a proper video on the main channel. But having that approach means we can review a load of stuff. Like what I've been doing with short form at the moment is we have been using shorts as a way of featuring more brands, because if we're only doing one video a week, and if that one video a week has to be a high performing video, then you're inevitably going to leave some brands out because their products aren't going to be high performing. For me, that is things like Chinese brands, Huawei, Honor, Oppo, those kind of brands where less people are interested, broadly speaking, in watching videos about them. But we can make shorts about those phones because I'm certainly interested in them, and it'll be fun to feature them. Also, that means we get to actually speak to those brands and work with those brands and, review phones, so to speak. It's just in short form format instead. It's funny. I always feel like short form is like a second to long form video. And certainly for me, it is, the channel is built on long form content. So, long form content is like the go. It is like the best thing we can do. But that doesn't mean like me saying to a brand that, oh, you're going to get a short out of it. That's like any less valuable, because that still has a value to it. But it feels like that's a lot of the time. Feels like that when I'm talking to the brands, and it feels like that when brands are talking to me about it sometimes, because, they want that long form dedicated video and not the short form quick review, whatever it is. So doing this approach of having this, like, I don't know, Pete Matheson uncut or whatever it is, I don't know. But that could be an approach where we do the long form videos, but there is no editing. It's just live reactions. And, like for this previous video that, wasn't a good video, in my opinion, we could have just sat there and as we were going through the whole setup process, just filmed everything, like get the live reactions, get the live responses to, things not quite working as it should do, and then cut that up. I say he says cut that up. Don't cut it up, but like, splice all the bits together, because, that wasn't shot in one continuous thing. That was shot over a few days and weeks of, let's try this, let's test it, and that's still not working. No, let's go back to them and ask them how to fix that. So we can just splice that all together and put it out as a video. There's no like production process. There's no like high editing efforts or sound effects or music or anything along those lines. It's just, cool, here's some video. We just, clip a mic on and just crack on with things. And that could almost be like the follow-up content that we used to do something called like the after show, which was a Patreon only thing, I think, where, you'd have the long form video. I'd say in that long form video, go check out the after show on Patreon, as a way to like drive people to Patreon. But this could essentially be that, but it's like on YouTube. Obviously, if it's on YouTube, then it could be SEO-ified and people could still come across the content. And maybe the channel could grow as well as a whole second channel that could be a whole other thing. And this is really where there's a couple of things here. So I came across, I think it was vidIQ. vidIQ said that there was like some study done, I think, that they did, where actually having hybrids content on your channel. So if you've got long form videos and short form videos together on one channel, like living on one channel, gave them and gave the data that they had the slowest growth in subscribers, because you're splitting your audience essentially. You're growing this short form audience, you're growing this long form audience, and mostly speaking, those audiences don't cross paths. And we were just chatting about this here briefly, and I think I kind of agree, because I certainly see this with the content on my main channel, is that, we have some shorts that have gone very viral, that's 15, 20 million views or something. That short alone has brought in, I don't know, 30, 40,000 subscribers, I think, maybe something insane like that. And there's a few of them. So a large chunk of the subscribers sat on the channel are short form subscribers who maybe will never ever go and watch a long form video because they just scroll shorts. And then vice versa, there are long form viewers that sit down and watch, the long form videos on the TV, are never going to go and watch a short form video because it's just the wrong, the wrong format when they're sat on the wrong platform. It's TV, you're not going to be scrolling through shorts. I know some people do, but broadly speaking, no. And so what I feel, the reason why I agree with their kind of saying on that the hybrid channels go slower is that, like, looking at click-through rates, for example, if I've got a mixture of shorts and longs, then is YouTube then showing, every time that short form viewer goes onto the YouTube app, is YouTube showing my long form videos to those short form viewers who are never going to watch the video because they don't watch long form, they just watch short form videos. And then vice versa. If you are a long form viewer and they're, giving you the short form videos and you never click on them, you never watch them, you never tap on them, whatever, you're just wasting impressions. And all that does is then drive down the CTR. So actually, could we get better CTRs by just not having that mixture of content? The problem is there are shorts on the channel and you can't just like evaporate all the shorts on the channel. I mean, you could delete them all. But I feel like that would cause, that would do more damage than good, I feel, on the channel. Because then that whole part, that whole audience just vanishes. So I have been wondering that. And actually, like having said that, we could do that on the second channel. We could just have long form videos only, zero short form, and just see what it does. You never know what happens with that. And that kind of leads on to, I'm going to try and find the data now. So we have had a week, maybe 2 weeks of just doing short form content, because we had basically a gap in our schedule. We didn't do a long form video last week, I think it was. And so we spent a week, the week before, we spent a week doing short form videos, and we've done an extra batch of short form videos last week, and we're doing an extra batch tomorrow, I think he says, as he's just talked you through this whole, like, maybe we should do shorts thing. But this is the thing, like, I don't want to rock the boat and make it worse. So I want to make sure that these decisions are like educated decisions. But that may well change tomorrow once I've had a proper think about it. So our results from, I guess, focusing on shorts. So I can see from my chart now. So we started posting shorts on, what's this? The 4th of May, and it's the 13th of May. So just over a week, kind of week and a half or so of posting. And there have been a noticeable bump in views because, of course, we're putting out a load of shorts. So that's not doubled. It's like there's been an extra third. Yeah, an extra third-ish. There's a few extra spikes in there from when views have really taken off on shorts, but we've had a good bump in views. Subscribers, it's difficult to say, but subscribers are definitely almost doubled. So we were averaging like 100 subscribers a day, and we published a long form video, and our subscribers jumped up to like 230 subscribers a day because of that long form video. And then following that long form video, we've been posting daily shorts, and we are averaging still around like 180, 200, 240, 210, 205. So it's still doubled what we're bringing in terms of subscribers. Again, reiterating what I've just said, maybe that is bringing in the wrong type of subscribers. Because again, this is the whole problem of like, when people look at the channel and they go like, oh, you've got 300,000 subscribers, but your baseline views that your worst performing video get is quite low, is because actually a good chunk of those subscribers are short form subscribers. Which means, and this is the thing I've always thought about for a while in my channel, is that's the explanation as to why the views on my long form videos can be quite volatile, because there's this short form audience that doesn't really ever watch those long form videos. But it's been an interesting journey posting that. It's been a lot easier to post and edit multiple short form videos. We haven't seen huge results on the other platforms yet, and that partially comes down to me, again, not really posting them properly on there. I've sit down in the evening and go, oh crap, I need to be posting short form videos. So I go and look at what we posted in the last few days and try and catch up with myself. But it hasn't, like, those videos haven't performed as well as it did on YouTube, on the other platforms. But then also, I don't think I've been posting regularly enough. Like, it's not been like clockwork, so to speak, on TikTok and on Instagram. I have posted, but it's been, again, like, oh, I'm going to just do 2 videos in one evening or 3 videos in one evening. So there's no like proper schedule that each platform can come to expect from me. So it depends what your definition of success is. Yes, it did help increase views on the channel. Yes, it has increased the subscribers on the channel. It has not really done anything to revenue in terms of AdSense, because you don't really earn revenue from YouTube Shorts AdSense. Maybe it's maybe it has aided the growth on other platforms like Instagram and TikTok, and not necessarily like aided it, but it gives you the opportunity. It's that opportunity cost of, if you're not doing it, then there's the opportunity cost that those platforms will just sit there and do nothing. But if you are at least being active on those platforms, then there is a chance that those accounts could grow. So, in terms of doing more of this, yeah, it's an interesting one. I'm thinking about this now more, and I do feel like perhaps just focusing on the long form videos would be it's difficult. I feel like it would be a better return on investing of time. Um, Making more like long form videos are still like where not the views are at, but like the business is at essentially. Like the business is run on the back of long form videos. Although if you can crack short form videos, I know there's plenty of like shorts creators that just do short form and they're smashing it on TikTok and Instagram and YouTube Shorts and all sorts of things. If you kind of smash that, then that's great because then your brand deals that come in are interested in the short side of things, and not the long form because you don't really do long form. But it does make me think that maybe we should be like tomorrow, for example. Maybe instead of spending the day doing shorts, even though I have a good idea on what will perform well as shorts now for my channel, that's the other thing. So I'm jumping between things now, but now we've spent the 1 to 2 weeks on shorts. I feel like I have an understanding for we've not had shorts go really viral, but there are definitely shorts that perform better than other shorts. And so now I know if we're going to make shorts, what those shorts should be about. I've said shorts too many times. Now it sounds funny. But like we should be focusing on creating those specific types of shorts, because that's the stuff that gets the views and performs well and gets comments and engagement and that kind of stuff. But the question is, do we want to do shorts? Or, would it not be better to spend our time on not necessarily working on those long form videos, but like ideating videos, titles and thumbnails and packaging and that whole approach? Or even on this second channel where actually we just grab a camera, start rolling, and we just start unboxing like the Fitbit Air, and we can start like setting it up, and that's a video, and we can bash that out in a day. There's all sorts of things we can do with that time. And again, it's finding like the most valuable time, or return on your money. So a couple of things. Paddy Galloway is 30 years old apparently, which sounds extremely young. So he posted like one of those 30 things I've learned in 30 years, or whatever it is. And Paddy Galloway is like a YouTube guru, expert. He worked with Mr. Beast and all that usual stuff. And I read through his list and I took a few notes from it I cut out things that I felt were most important, at least that resonated better with me. And so here are 11 things out of Paddy's 30 that I felt were appropriate and worth considering. So number one, view counts and retention curves are the 2 data points worth analyzing. Everything else is secondary. I know there's a load of people that are like trying to focus on watch time, average view duration, click-through rates, all that kind of stuff. And we've been trying to figure it out ourselves. But saying here that view counts and retention curves are the 2 data points. What I might extend that to is impressions, because view counts are then based on impressions. The difficulty is you then get dragged into CTR, and you've got this number of impressions, and if the CTR is what it is, then what it is. But yeah, to a certain point, you don't have. I guess the way I maybe interpret that is view counts and retention curves. So the only data point you can get from posting a video is, did it get a lot of views? And if it did get a lot of views, it was a good idea. If it didn't get a lot of views, it was a bad idea. Now, yes, there's packaging and everything going on, but then you've got the retention curve point that he's raised there, where you look at the video, you look at the retention, which we don't honestly really do much. Look at the retention and look for things that you are saying or doing or showing on screen that does an increase in people are increasing when they're watching that section. That's the stuff that we should be making notes of and focusing more on. So that was number one. Number two, try to maintain 40 to 50% profit margins until $2 million in revenue. That's just, we're way below that, but I feel like that's quite important because it's very easy to spend a load of money on extra things. And I'm very much it sounds silly to have profit when you could be spending it and reinvesting it. But I thought that was just an interesting one to keep in mind. Also, number three, selling merch is usually a waste of time, shit margins, and you compete with every other creator. We've been thinking about that a lot recently because we've been talking about merch, and we've dabbled in desktop wallpapers, and I feel like software side of things is a lot easier than hardware. And even on the software side of things, again, I've been dabbling with Claude. Like, could I package that up and sell it? But then you've got to do the whole like support and billing, and there's just a lot of overheads. It's certainly a lot easier than a physical product, but it does make you wonder. Well, number four, physical product businesses are a bad move for 99% of creators. So yeah, I don't have any current intentions to sell any merch, like, t-shirts, hats, and stuff? It's a bit of a weird thing for me. I don't understand why people would want to buy merch personally off me. Branded Pete Masson merch is just a bit weird. um, Number 5, schedule 5+ hours a week to study videos on YouTube. This is one that we should all be doing. I should be doing. I probably do, kind of in and out of things. When I'm sat on the sofa in the evenings and I'm scrolling through YouTube, I'm kind of going, oh, that's performed well for them. And sometimes I ping them into an ideas channel we've got in our Slack group here. But yeah, I should be scheduling that time to sit down and just go, cool, I'm in like YouTube analysis mode now. I'm just going to spend the day or the afternoon, wherever it is, just going through and doing like analysis. And number 6, on that note, create a playlist. Every time you see an outlier video, add it. Then at the end of each week, analyze those videos. I did do that before. I've stopped doing it. So that was just like a reminder to myself to start doing it again. Number 7, if 90% of your time is filming and editing, you're a video maker and not a YouTuber. Video maker, not YouTuber was an interesting definition. But I feel like if 90% of your time is filming and editing, that's like the wrong area you should be spending your time on. And this goes back to the whole packaging essentially. Which, number 8, allocate at least 25% of your time to titles, thumbnails, ideas, and intros. So yes, again, that like links into the whole retention side of things. Find the stuff that keeps people's attention, from those hooks and those intros, keep people watching, so that when your like video flattens out as your audience kind of, okay, you've got the viewer now. Let's watch the rest of the video. It's trying to make sure that when that line flattens out, it's as high as possible, so you've lost the the least number of viewers. And so that's an interesting one that I want to look at and focus on. Number 9, the idea sets the ceiling for your video. Your packaging and execution is the result. So and this is like the whole total addressable market, TAM, where for me, when I look at, smart home videos, for example, and generally speaking on smart home, there is like a view limit of like 50 to 100K views on each video. Generally, like speaking, most smart home people will get at most 100,000 views on their video, because there is just, there's a certain number of people that will watch that kind of content. And yes, there are certain ways of packaging it up. And this is, again, where it comes down to like, well, hey, if you spend more time on the idea of the video and coming up with a more interesting way of packaging it, then yes, you could go past those like kind of ceilings. But generally speaking, when you're looking at a particular type of video, like for us, it was, there was projectors was one, smart home was another one, but like projectors, there was always like a certain ceiling of people care about TVs, but not projectors. And so again, both of those two categories of products have different TAMs, total addressable market. Number 10, brainstorm 10 new ideas per day, make it a muscle. Fair point. I think it's very good to brainstorm 10 new ideas per day. The only challenge I have with that is that in tech, it feels like, well, the 10 new ideas are like the Pixel 11 Pro is coming out soon. But then it's niching down further and going, well, how can we approach that Pixel 10 video? Something that came out of our data analysis stuff, which I'll talk about in just a moment, is that single device videos don't perform that well. So when we're doing comparisons, buyer's guides versus, all this kind of stuff, top tips, 50 ways to, 50 things to do with this device, that all performs a lot better than just like, hey, here are my thoughts on this one device. So having brainstorming 10 new ideas per day on, the Pixel 11 Pro launch. What videos could we make around that Pixel 11 Pro launch that isn't just 30 days with the Pixel 11 Pro, that kind of stuff. And then number 11, find 3 to 5 similar sized creators and schedule a weekly mastermind call together. This is one I've been very interested to do for a while, but I have really struggled because no one seems to weirdly want to do it. It kind of blows my mind that people don't want to jump on a call to like improve themselves. I think this is the problem inherently with YouTube and content creation, and tech YouTube maybe specifically, is everyone's just so busy trying to keep up with all the tech launches and making videos and shooting and editing and publishing and admin and emails and brand deals. There's just not enough time to just sit down and take an hour just to go, how have our videos done? How have your videos done? Like I hop on a chat with Laurie from Tech Notice sometimes, and that's always a great conversation. And we always sit down, we always like look at each other's videos. And I spotted a few videos of his where I was confused with the packaging, and so I've suggested some things. He suggested some things back, and it's really useful to be able to do that. But what I will say is, I don't know how many people watch or listen to these podcasts, but if you run a tech channel of some form, and you're 100,000 plus subscribers, and you want to jump on a weekly like hour-long call just to chat strategy and titles and thumbnails and packaging and stuff, like would absolutely love to get in contact, leave me a DM. Would be super cool to hang out and chat and all the kind of good stuff. So that was Paddy Galloway's tips. And then lastly, to finish up here is, let me just make sure we're still recording. We are, thankfully. We've planned our video schedule out to the end of 2026. So what I did was, I said I've been using Claude to build out this whole like kind of content strategy thing. So I started off building an app that identified which channels were buying their views. So it was a lot easier. Well, it's been a running joke for a while about people buying their views, and I just kind of thought, it'd be really funny if someone bought We Buy Views or WeBuyAnyViews.com, and brands could use it and plumb in a channel's name, and it could show them which channels are buying views. Problem being is that if you are then accusing someone of buying their views and they're not buying views, I don't want to go there. So it turned into an internal project only. But what that did then evolve into is that, hey, if I've got like a load of channels in here, could I not then use that channel data, much like the outlier, 1 of 10 thumbnails and all these kind of other view stats and those kind of things? Can I not then scrape the data and do something with that data? So what I've now done is I've now got it to remove any channels that have suspected, bought fake views, and then pull in 12 months worth of their data and look through for common trends, or like, is there a particular title that multiple creators have done and it always overperforms for them? Maybe that will overperform for us as well. So like collecting a ton of data, both shorts and longs, separated so they're not like spilling over onto each other. But what that does mean is then I've been able to give Claude a load of ideas. So I wrote down a list of my own ideas. Some of those came from like YouTube's own recommendations tab in YouTube Studio. So I've written those ideas down and given it access to our own YouTube channel data. So it's got our own stats from previous videos that have performed well on the channel. It's got all these other like third-party creator channels, and it's basically be able to mush it all together. And I've just said, cool, we post one video a week. Here's our Monday.com schedule, which is currently slowly migrating over to this whole web app interface thing, which we're also building. Come up with the videos. Just make sure you're aware of like the, for us, for example, we repeat the same format for every phone launch. So rather than me saying, this video for this launch and the same video for this launch and the same video for this launch, it just went away and said like, oh, Pete does this format, and I'm going to know when all the new phone launches come out. So like, the flips and folds and the Pixels and the iPhones, it needs to be aware of like when those launches are. And then it would just go, cool, okay, the iPhone's coming out then roughly. So let's put a video, because that's a video that performs well for Pete in there. And so it's just done that. It's literally just gone out and mapped out my entire 1 month schedule. What we then also did was, for the busy time periods like the iPhone launches and like Pixel or whatever, we then explored adding in some low effort videos. So the way it's put it into the schedule is there are 2 videos posted on the same day. May or may not happen that way, but it means that we'll do a high effort video, which takes scripting and research and titling a thumbnail and all that kind of stuff, and then a low effort video that's just like I can sit down at a desk and there's a top down camera and I can just like talk about the thing. Here's every phone in every color or every case or whatever it is. Just simple things like that we can easily do and push out another video. What that also means is that now my agency has my video schedule all the way through to the end of the year. There are multiple different videos for multiple different product launches and other video ideas amongst that as well that aren't related to product launches. And so they have a load of stuff to be pitching for now. If we come up to like the iPhone launch and there's a certain type of video that's sold, but the other type hasn't, then that's also another way of like how we remove some content from our channel, because we are confident in the fact that these videos, he says, will perform. Like the confidence we have, the data says the videos should perform. And again, this just comes down to how we packaged it and titled and thumbnailed it and everything. And maybe we do less shorts because then more longs, that whole thing we've just gone through. But they now have all the data. We have all the data pre-prepared. We are already like pitching out to brands as well, because we know that there are some brands that always take the same slots every year. And so we're trying to proactively get things booked in. And like going back to the very beginning of this video and podcast, where we are very scheduled here. Like we plan things out. We script on Mondays. We shoot on Tuesdays. We do B-roll on Wednesdays, and then we've got Thursday, Friday for like shorts and admin and other stuff. I am also going to take into everything I said in this show today. Gonna probably re-plan out my weeks and try and figure out what I should be doing when, because some of the bottlenecks, for example, like going straight from scripting on Monday to shoot on Tuesday. Well, in this particular example that I gave, where we needed to give the brand a concept first and give them a chance to respond, or sometimes, I don't feel like we should be doing dedicated videos anymore, given that how the recently ones have performed. But giving the brand time to read and review and make changes and comments and that kind of stuff just messes the schedule up, because by the time the brand's actually done that, we've already shot the video. And actually what we do is we go and make, we'll shoot extra inserts to go and fix those mistakes, rather than delaying the whole video until they reviewed and then shoot the whole thing. So maybe we should be, we should be scripting on Thursday, and then that gives Friday and well, maybe not Monday, but gives Friday and the weekend for brands to review it, or gives us time to sit on it and think or play and test, that kind of stuff. And then we come in on Monday and we shoot the video. Or maybe and that also then maybe gets the edit to the editors earlier, so that they can start editing sooner, so that we can then post it on not this Friday but the next Friday. And so just trying to think about how we can be more efficient with our time. And so I'm going to be what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to literally give Claude. I'm like super big fan of Claude right now, and we spend not a lot of money, but a fair bit of money each month on just Claude credits and stuff. I'm just going to give Claude a list of all the things that I need to do and want to do with my week, and actually probably the team's plan as well, because that would actually make a lot more sense to bring Matt's kind of roles and responsibilities into it as well. Of like, when does it make sense to be doing the packaging, the title, and the thumbnailing? Like, it would be nice to have some thumbnails shot ahead of time. And if this ever happens, like an hour sit down with someone each week, or a bunch of creators each week, we can share the videos that we've got coming up. Here's the packaging for the video. Does it make sense to you? Can you look at the title and thumbnail and know what the video is going to be about? Is it intriguing? Are you going to click on it? And if the feedback is no, I don't really understand the video, then we know we've got work to do. But we need that to happen before we script the video. Otherwise, it's too late, and maybe you'll completely change the packaging. Like one of the videos when I was chatting with Laurie about one of the videos he had, I kind of read the title and thumbnail combination. I was like, oh, is it like is the video about this? In which case, wouldn't this title make more sense? And I couldn't understand the concept of the video from the existing packaging, and that confused me. Therefore, I wouldn't know why I would want to click on the video. And so it's like things like that, where actually having the opportunity to sit down and chat and discuss these things ahead of time would make a huge amount of sense. So yeah, I might actually bring other people into that, and that also then means we know what days we're delivering like video drafts and thumbnails, and because I know Matt's got like a bunch of time, which a lot of it gets taken up by admin, like scheduling and emails and all those kind of stuff. So it's like, how can we minimize all of that general admin time and maximize obviously all of our time to make sure it's just been spent on most useful stuff. So that is where we're going to go this year. This show. I'm going to leave it there. Thank you so much for watching. And again, if you have any comments, questions, or thoughts, please leave them down below. Drop me a DM, ping me on, all the socials, whatever it is. And maybe next week I'll have more of an idea on what we're doing with things. Who knows? We'll never know. Speak to you in the next one. Cheers. Bye-bye.